Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. I'm actually joined this time by Scarhoof,
Hello, everyone.
and it has been quite a long time since I have been joined by you. I think last time was a Cractorio episode, or maybe some of the first discussion videos I did for Friday Facts. You joined as well.
Yep, it's been months. It's
It,
been a long time.
it's been a long time. Well, it's good to have you here, man. It's going to be an interesting discussion. This was quite an interesting Friday Facts.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just going to kind of briefly summarize this first optimizations thing and then, then just add in any thoughts you have and we'll just kind of go section by section.
Okay.
Um, so essentially, Kovrex, he talks about the last Friday facts. He talked with the stack optimizations for items and didn't manage to finish it, but he did finish it, and he was able to do some performance tests. So he tested how many stacks on a big map actually need to use an externally allocated object, and how many of them are plain. So on a huge map he tested, it turned out that only 38,000 out of 1 million stacks need the item object. So they were mainly science packs because they have like the progression kind of how
Yeah.
used up
The
they are.
progress bar.
Yeah, on a per item basis essentially. Um, However, he found that the overall factory performance was increased approximately 2% by this, which it's not huge, but I mean, hey, it's 2%
Yep.
for free almost. I mean,
Yeah. And honestly, 2% is pretty significant. I mean, they're kind of to the point where a 2% increase from a single change is, I would say, fairly significant
yeah, I would agree.
because they fixed so many bugs and it's so optimized already. A 2% performance from one change is pretty large.
Yeah, which makes the next section here even more significant. Is one of the programmers that Zulon, I think he's a modder, or he does have read access to their code, but he's not. I don't, or
Yeah, I don't recognize his name as far as one of the
yeah,
developers.
I don't think he's a developer of the actual game. But anyway, he has read access, and he came up with a pull request that improves performance in Factorio by prefetching memory in the update loops ahead. Um, So the problem with normally updating objects is that CPU asks for memory representing the object. The memory is slow, at least compared to the CPU, or the CPU speed. The memory transfer speed itself is not that slow, but the latency time between ordering and receiving it is. This means that what that very often happens is CPU orders data of the next entity for the memory, then waits for a while to you know do more. And essentially, what they've done is they've kind of made it so the CPU can um, do the logic of like the current thing in the meantime while it's waiting for the like memory to transfer it, I believe.
Hmm.
And they found a 9 to 12% performance improvement from this, which
Yeah.
is actually huge.
So my take on this was if he's saying like 2% is kind of it's nothing huge, but every little bit matters. I was wondering if the 9 to 12% is overall game performance, or if that is just prefetch performance or memory performance,
And that's a good question, because
because he
I
doesn't
don't know.
specify it.
Yeah, he doesn't specify it, which I mean, it is a huge difference if it's one or the other, I would imagine,
Yeah,
because I mean,
yeah.
even if we
It-
take kind of the middle ground, a 10% improvement is like an extra 6 UPS pretty much.
right, right. And I'm not a programmer, but like I understand what he's doing here with the memory prefetching. But I can't imagine that just doing this memory prefetch is going to give us a 10% boost in overall game performance. That seems significant.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, it would be interesting. I'd have to ask, or maybe someone in the comments knows, or once in a while, dev watches this. If you know, I mean, obviously, if you're a dev, you probably know. If this is overall, or if this is just the improvement for the memory prefetching part, because that does make a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But either way, it's improvements. I'll take any improvement I can get. Um, and that's not to mention the belt ones and other ones they're doing in 16. But now we get to a very interesting part, which is the logistics buffer chest. Which, first of all, I just want to throw this out there. People are going to disagree with me. I was discussing with Will and Mojo on the stream earlier. I think buffer chest is a very inappropriate name for it. Um, I would personally prefer if it were called like a smart chest, because we used to have smart chests and they were also green. And I mean, these are smarter because
Yeah.
buffer chests, I feel like, just gives the wrong idea, but that's just me. But essentially, they're flexible. To summarize, is it's kind of a workaround of some things we've had, like really janky things we've had to do to get things to work. What this chest is going to let us do is it essentially acts as both a requester chest and a provider chest without creating a loop within itself.
Hmm.
Um, so as they kind of show in these cool diagrams here is what happens currently is that so they say there was one key missing to the puzzle. The main issue is that the requester chests cannot provide their items to any other member of the logistics system, because, you know, if you like request, you know, whatever, some materials and then have them inserted from the requester into the provider, then the bots just take from the provider it's inserting into back to the requester that's requesting it, inserting in, and you just create an endless loop.
Yeah, and I think everybody has done this, right? You place down something, you're like, oh, I got too many things or whatever, like in a chest. So then you dump down a requester chest, and then it ends up just looping for a while till you realize what you accidentally did.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is. They say it's easy to design a system to resupply far out areas using trains to directly put items in provider chests, but they're in the same logistics network. Pretty much what I just said. So the solution is the buffer chest, smart chest, which functions as both a requester and passive provider chest. So this green guy here he can request items in. You can see from the arrows, he can request
Mhm.
items in from storage or passives. Robots can take from him, and then requesters can also request from him.
Hmm.
And it acts as an in-between for storage provider chests and requesters. Typically when you set up all provider chests, they're spread out across your whole factory. When you return to the base for resupply, you end up waiting for a long time while the bots travel all over the factory. I'm sure we've all experienced this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying. But now by using the smart chest, you can set up a dedicated supply area, as we see in the thing here, where they request items from throughout the base and have them in it. But
Mhm.
since requester chests cannot request from the buffer chests or smart chests, then it just acts as a resupply area, essentially, because when you walk into the range, your bots or the logistics bots can take it to you, and it pretty much just acts as a passive provider that is also requesting the items. It's a little bit confusing. Like, there are a lot of questions I saw on the forums and
Oh yeah.
Reddit about how it actually is going to work.
Yep. Yeah, actually seeing this thing in order, I think, is going to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's
So it's essentially a pre-staging chest. I mean, I get why they're calling it a buffer chest, but a pre-staging chest
mhm.
might work also.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I guess the big thing here is that items can be put back in. And I guess I'm really curious as to, can you specify how many items get put back into it? So does it always maintain like 1,000 items in that chest? Or does it allow it? Can you just specify that this chest is only for coal? And you can fill this chest up entirely with coal until you run out of space, and then it starts overflowing into the yellow storage chests.
Based on what I've seen and what I've read in developer answers, it is more of a request thing. Like,
Okay.
more of it seems like it's literally a requester chest that also acts as a provider to the
Oh, okay.
player.
Okay.
So you request, say, 1,000 transport belt, and
Hmm.
passives and storage will supply it, and then it
Right.
sits in there. And
Okay. And so then rather than going to the storage or the passives for the items, it will go to these buffer chests first. It'll pull from the buffer chest first.
right, but only
So,
for, I think, only for the player and construction bots,
oh, okay.
because otherwise it would kind of create a
Well,
loop again.
yeah, well, but it does say it can also go to requester chests as well.
It shouldn't.
Well, if you go to the little pentagram looking one, the satanic ritual looking thing, it does have a green arrow directly over to the requester chest.
Hmm. Well, that seems a little bit odd. I guess
Yeah,
maybe
well,
it's
but then
not.
again, the requester chest is kind of a final destination anyway, right?
Right.
Can't really go any. It can't go anywhere. Like you can't take items out of the requester chest. So it's since it's kind of a final destination, just like construction robots and you. I guess that makes sense.
Kind of. Although I'm a little bit confused. If the requester can take from the buffer chest, why not just have the requester take from a passive chest?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's a little bit. Like I said, there were a lot of questions. A lot of people were kind of confused about how it worked. And there's also, I should have pulled it up. I didn't remember it till now. Someone asked about the priorities in terms of like what chests take priority.
Mm-hmm.
And in the forum discussion, which is linked at the bottom of the Friday Facts, one of the devs did answer and give the priority of like what chests are taken from first and for what.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what it is, but that kind of helped clear things up a little bit.
I think I found it. It's number one is requesters in the player. Number two is construction orders. Number
Hmm.
three is buffer chests, and number four is storage chests.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that kind of helps, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, like, one of the comments was, if I use buffer chests for something near my outer borders, then bots from the center of my base may skip over a nearby storage chest to fetch from a nearby buffer chest. So we're still going to have to be smart about how we place these things.
Hmm.
But in certain instances, it could really come in handy. Like in my Megabus series, I have a kind of a centralized storage location because the bus is just massive,
Right.
and having everything get stored in that central location could be really handy, so that if things are just staged there. So whenever I come into the network and I need a bunch of items, the robots can just grab them from those chests rather than have to fly halfway across the world to grab an item for me.
Yeah, exactly, which would be a perfect use for it.
Yeah, and right now I get around that by having a requester chest with a bunch of items in it. Like, let's say I have a big blueprint. Like I used to do this with my solar builds, right? I would actually have a requester chest with all the items that I needed for, like, let's say 10 stamp downs of a solar panel blueprint. So I just configure the requester chest for all of those. That way I can go over, control click it, grab all the items out, and then go stamp down a whole bunch of solar panels. Well, this way you don't actually have to have a requester chest for you to grab the items out of directly. The bots will just put them into your inventory.
Right, exactly.
So making it a little bit more convenient.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And another cool thing, the last part here is they say, last but not least, use cases when you want to dedicate part of your storage for specific things. The reason can either be just OCD or the fact that you can make sure that too much coal, for example, won't make it impossible to store enough iron or in your storage system. And they show here. So this is kind of cool because, before it was just one huge storage. It was pretty much like a landfill.
Mm-hmm.
It was just dumped everything wherever it wanted almost. And then, with these guys, you can actually request, and they kind of pretty much can act as storage chests. You could just request enough to fill the entire chest with like one item if you wanted, or two different items, and
Yep.
nothing else would go in there except those.
Yep. The problem here, though, is you could still theoretically flood out your entire system, because if you keep dumping coal into the system, when it fills up all of the chests, it's going to dump into the yellow chests, the storage chests. So it's still possible, but I get what they're saying here is that you'll always have room for iron.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If coal fills up all of its buffer chests and all the storage, there will always be room for iron. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I think so.
Cool. I can't wait to actually put it to use.
Yeah. It'll be really nice. Kind of solve some of the wonky ways we have to do stuff. But like you said, you will have to be a bit careful and kind of think about how you use them still.
Yep. Yep. And is it just me, or is it in that after picture? Do they all look kind of teal and not green?
They do look a little bit different, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. At first, I was thinking it was just the iron ore was kind of making them look a little bit teal, but then you look at the others and they all kind of have that same effect. But whatever.
That's a good observation. They do, yeah, they do look a bit of a different color. Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
And then the last part is high resolution robots.
Mm-hmm. They're
So
pretty.
they are really pretty. For some reason, the logistics and construction ones look a little bit off to me, and I can't quite place why. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. They just look a little bit off to me. They certainly don't look bad. They look better than what we have now. And then the combat robots look really, really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, they look fantastic. Maybe it's just because with the old resolutions, they weren't able to put in the details that they wanted.
Mm.
Like that construction robot, I don't remember that white shroud going only halfway around. For some reason in my head, I thought it went all the way around.
Oh yeah, me too. Maybe that is part of it.
Yeah, well, and when they're if they're gonna redo all the icons, maybe they decided to make some design changes to them.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
I mean, it's now's the time to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these look really, really cool. I like the first the what would that be? The Defender capsule guy.
Yeah.
It looks like
Hmm.
something reminds me a lot of like a robot from like Star Wars or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yep.
what I was thinking. Yeah,
Exactly.
like the guy that they boop on the nose in one of the episodes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of cute. He's a little rusty on the top and stuff like that. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool. And that pretty much covers it. I'm just looking through here again. I don't think we missed anything. Did you have any other thoughts here?
Nope, nope. I just want to play with this stuff now.
Yeah, me too. Better hurry up with 16. I want my new terrain too.
That's right.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments, as always. And yeah, I believe that'll do it. So,
All right.
awesome. Until next time, we will see you later.
Take care.